Janae, and you've just tuned in to Brunch N Baking. Thank you so much for joining me for my first show. Today, what I'm going to be doing is a take on the traditional steak and eggs breakfast. We'll be doing a non-traditional cheese steak bowl with a simple salad and a non-traditional mimosa. So to get started, I've got these vegetables chopped up. We're going to get cooking. I'm going to show you all some simple tricks that you can use in the kitchen. As always, the first thing you want to do to protect your gear, ladies, because we like to look good, we don't want to be dirty, is get your apron, something cute, so that you can still be fashionable in the kitchen. First step, wash your hands. Now, I've already washed my hands, so I'm going to hit it with some sanitizer that I like to keep beside me at all times because you're going to be handling meats and vegetables, and we want to stay as germ-free as possible. So the first step of this is you want to get your vegetables together. Here I have bell pepper, mushroom, and onion. I want everything thinly sliced because our objective in this dish is to build and develop flavor, but to minimize the texture. There's nothing worse than big chunks of vegetables in your food. So I'm just going to demonstrate a thin chop here on this bell pepper so that you can kind of get an idea of how thinly you want to look to chop those. About 1.5 inches. Same thing with your mushroom. Thin slices. About that. I'm not going to do the onion today because it's going to make me cry. But what I want you to do is still look and see how thinly I've sliced those onions. So when you get ready to prepare this dish for yourself, you've got a good idea. So first thing you want to do, as always, is you add your vegetables to the pan first. Then you add your oil. This is going to sweat those vegetables down. Don't worry, they're not going to stick because it's going to release the natural moisture that's found in the vegetables. I'm just going to set that here for a moment. I'm going to add a few extra vegetables to this. Once you did that, you should have got a really good sizzle going. At that point, you just want to sweat those vegetables out, let them release that moisture so that they can caramelize and get really tender. At this point, you can also add a little bit of seasoning, whatever your choice, salt and pepper, a little garlic salt, or fresh garlic if you have it. You will want to put it in at this point. Now we're going to come over and start with our steak. Any cut of steak will do for this dish. I like to use a sirloin round. It's important to keep your cutting boards separate. It's going to reduce the risk of you spreading any of the germs from the meat onto the vegetables. We're slicing, thinly slice our strips of steak. Again, I'm using a big sirloin round. Now, what you'll find is my steak has kind of gotten to room temperature. You want to slice your steak cold because if it's cold, it's just going to be easier to slice. Also, you want to have a sharp knife, so that way it's just going to be easier to slice. You want to get it as thin as possible. Now, some people like to, at this point, go ahead and get your little oil, salt and pepper together, maybe some garlic, fresh thyme. You can use that to season your meat before we add it to the vegetables. Okay, we want to go ahead and give those vegetables a little bit of a stir. We're ready for our seasoned, thinly sliced meat to go in. It smells so good. Those onions have really started to caramelize or get that brown on them. You'll see by thinly slicing those bell peppers, it allows everything to cook evenly. And it'll finish off and tenderize even more once we throw that steak in. Remember, I seasoned the steak with oil, salt and pepper, a little garlic salt. Come back over and get yourself some hand sanitizer before you start touching your utensils, or you're just going to spread all of that back onto your clean surfaces. Want to spread that enough where those thin strips can get down there and get cooked, kind of move those vegetables to the top. so that everything can cook evenly. This is going to take you a good 10 to 15 minutes to just let that sit there and cook, turning occasionally so that both sides cook evenly. So we're going to set that there. We're going to move on to our sauce. This sauce I started off by making a roux, which is a butter and flour base. Now as you can see, I'm kind of having to really stir it right now because it's been on low for a moment and it's caused my sauce to thicken. So as I said, I started with that roux. What you want to do once you get your roux to a good consistency is you want to add equal parts of cold milk and evaporated milk. If your sauce starts to thicken up on you while you're doing other steps, all you need to do is add a little more cold milk, whisk that in, make it a little messy, that's okay. That's why we've got our apron on. I'm going to whisk that in really good, and I'm going to show you the consistency that you're going to be looking for with this sauce. You don't want it thick like mashed potatoes, but you want it just a nice creamy consistency, and you should have no lumps. That lets you know that you really cooked that flour out, because the worst thing you can do is have a sauce that still has a flour taste to it. Okay, I've got that sauce right where I wanted, a nice velvety consistency. So we're going to go ahead and add our pepper jack cheese. Don't worry if this is moving a little too fast for you. We will have the full recipe on the blog. This is about 16 ounces of pepper jack cheese. Go ahead and get that added and just stir it in there to a nice consistency. At this point, you can turn the heat down on your sauce. Just let that melt together. Now that that cheese is added in there, you'll be able to leave it a little longer and not have to worry about it getting such a thick consistency. Once all that cheese melts down, it's going to be perfect. This is a good time for us to add just a dash more milk, so make sure that you're keeping that sauce loose. We want sauce, not mashed potatoes. Go ahead and check on your meat. Should be time to give it a good turn. We're wanting to cook our steak medium well. I am a southerner, and I know we're all scared of that pink in the middle. I don't want my meat raw. You also don't want to chew rubber. So medium well is the way to go. It'll be slightly pink in the middle, but that'll kind of cook down. We've already cooked out any pathogens, germs. It'll be just fine. It'll taste much better. Okay, giving it a turn, making sure all sides that have pink left on them are turned over so that they can get a good even cook. We're going to go ahead and get started on our eggs. By the time that we finish, get our eggs plated up, we can move on to our simple fruit salad, and our meat will be finished cooking. Let's go ahead and get your eye ready for those eggs. You're going to want to do this recipe to your standards. I needed to grab about 5 eggs here. I want to go ahead and get those started so that I can get my eggs prepared. And everyone's made eggs. A little salt and pepper, a little milk. The most important part about your eggs is the whisking motion. That's really going to allow you to aerate those eggs, and that's how you get a light and fluffy egg. Just get this stirred up and ready to go in the pan. I've already got my pan heated up. You won't have to babysit the eggs. That's something you don't have to particularly watch. Just want to give a really good whisking. Get you about a half a teaspoon of oil. I cook with olive oil. Everything olive oil. It's really good for you. And it has a great flavor of its own that it adds to the food. Get those eggs on. Okay, at this point, once you see that there's no more red left in your meat, you can go ahead and move it over to another side of your stove and just let that rest. While those eggs are heating up and cooking, give your sauce a little stir. Make sure it hasn't gotten thickened on you. If it has, you just add a little bit more milk, but it should be at a velvety consistency. It's almost like a gravy, but not super thick. A velvety consistency. If you can do that and it comes off, then you're still in good shape. Now if you stick this in there and it stays stuck in the whisk, it's way too thick. but you want to keep it warm. You want to keep it heated so that when you apply it to that steak, it'll just kind of melt and drizzle over there. Just work the sides of those eggs, and as you can see, you're going to create a really light, fluffy egg when you do that. Most people will go in and start breaking those eggs up. When you do that, you cause your eggs to get stiff. Give them a nice scramble. At this point, you can turn your heat off. This makes the perfect Valentine's Day brunch. So ladies, gents, Valentine's Day is coming up February 14th. Let's go ahead and give our sweeties something that is going to nourish their soul and their body. This is ready to be tasted by me. It looks so delicious, so delicious. I want to get a little bit of everything, a little bit of egg, a little bit of steak, mushroom. A really good savory dish with that cheese sauce. You can find me and other recipes, so good, at my blog, Brunch N Baking. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Periscope, and Snapchat. See you later.